The vinyl record looks and sounds like it belongs in another era, but even in the age of Spotify, records like this are still in style. In Chicago, the vinyl revival is real. Meet Casey Behringer, a 17-year-old lover of vinyl, who discovered her passion for vinyl while cleaning out the basement with her dad.
I've been with some albums in them, and she was like, hey, I want them. I said, okay.
Although Casey thought the vinyl looked really cool, it was her dislike of what she was hearing on the radio that led her to the music on vinyl.
Just didn't really like what I was hearing on the radio now anyways, so just wanted something else to listen to, I guess.
Next, meet BJ Cord, a trumpet player by night and a vinyl collector since the beginning.
When I was a teenager, my parents weren't really listening to their records, and I was. And so I went off to college. I went to college in the same town I grew up in, so I didn't really move too far away and take his stuff. But I certainly moved out of the house and took a lot of his records with me because I was listening to him all the time, and I think I was probably known amongst my friends as someone who already at that time had a large record collection. And
BJ has a collection of nearly 3,000 records.
And it's fun. It's the main difference between, obtaining and listening to music digitally versus having a physical collection like this is just that you can hold it in your hand and read it, and look at the artwork. And it's just kind of, you can download music and it comes with artwork, but there's something different about holding it in your hand.
And meet Eric Johnson, a DJ, saxophone, and percussion player, and a vinyl collector of over 30 years.
But it was with my mother's boyfriend. When he gave me records I had never heard of before, and it was just so much, it was such a wide range of music I had never heard, or artists I had never heard of before, and it just really blew my mind. So I'm like, this is really something I really enjoy. So, and as a musician, it helped me to expand, I guess, my musical taste and get into things that I probably would have never heard of had it not been for vinyl. So.
With a huge collection of more than 3,000 records, it's hard to pick out his favorite. But if he had to, it would be his Bill Cosby vinyl.
But when I saw it, I pulled it out like, wow, I didn't know Bill Cosby did a disco record.
In an era when all you need to do is go to your phone, pick a song, and can instantly listen to music, people are suddenly slowing down from this fast-paced world and taking a step back to listen to the old school way of music. Vinyl. And here's how it's evolved over the years.
The first vinyl long-playing record was invented in 1930, but it wasn't until the 50s when the vinyl really took off, and then later faded in the 90s. The next medium, the cassette player, invented in 1963, but it wasn't for another 15 years, the year of the Walkman, when it took off. But by the 2000s, it faded away when something else had consumers hooked, the compact disc, also known as the CD, in 1982. Had a good run, but was later booted aside by the MP3 player. Every decade, a new technology seemed to push vinyl into oblivion, but collectors like Eric Johnson believes if convenience wasn't an issue, then vinyl would be more popular.
I guarantee you, if any collector or DJ had enough space to have their whole collection accessible to them anytime they wanted to, they would do it.
By the turn of the century, music became even more accessible with YouTube, iTunes, Spotify, and more. More than ever, music became more about the convenience. But in 2005, something remarkable happened. Music lovers rediscovered the sound that was slowly becoming extinct. The music industry started to see growth in vinyl, and it has grown for 10 straight years since. Reckless Records store manager Kit McCabe has seen this incredible growth at his store.
It's probably around 2005, 2006. There's been a gradual trend towards vinyl making up the larger portion of our sales, drastically so. So I would say now it probably makes up about 60% or more of what we sell off the floor.
There's no question that digital music dominates sales with $2.3 billion, but it hasn't stopped this new generation from embracing the authenticity in vinyl. In 2015, nearly 12 million vinyl records were sold, according to Nielsen. In the first half of the year alone, sales skyrocketed more than 50% to $222 million. And Dana Lucas, radio DJ for 101.9 The Mix, can see why artists are going to vinyl.
A time when artists are really having to struggle to sell albums, this is a way that they can reach people who want something that's a little more niche or a little more like hipster, trendy, and if that's what people want to buy and that's what's going to hook them into getting your album and listening to your music, like that's a great way to tackle that. So I think that a lot of artists are trying it out to attract a new audience.
The number of pressing plants in the U.S. is limited, but even Jack White from the White Stripes is catching on to the comeback and opened a pressing plant in Nashville. In fact, the demand for vinyl is outstripping the number of pressing plants and experts available.
It is true right now, record pressing is a jammed up process, and only because of the dwindling availability of presses, but a lack of people who understand the process of electroplating. So from what I understand, that's the real hang-up. Not only are there less lathes available for people to press vinyl records, but there's less experts on hand to be able to deal with the process.
Kip McCabe, the store manager at Reckless Records in Lakeview, doesn't necessarily believe that vinyl will remain in vogue, but he can see why a new generation is attracted to it.
First and foremost, it sounds better, a lot better. The fidelity is just warmer, and for people who really appreciate music, I think it's just more present than the compression that exists on a compact disc. But also, I think as a format, it's a little bit sexier, holding on to a big 12 by 12 inch square with artwork, lyric sheets. Now also most of them come with digital downloads, so the convenience factor is still attached to it. I think it's just a more fun format. I think a lot of younger people were always interested in music. Now it's become more of a commodity for them, where they're collecting because it's fun to have music, and maybe also having a format at their ready where they can actually see and hold, as opposed to a lot of kids who've grown up without really owning anything but ones and zeros.
The comeback is even more remarkable in this age where digital music is easy to access with the touch of a button on your phone. But vinyl lovers insist that records have a sound that digital cannot match.
It's being able to pick up the actual record, knowing it was from the era that the music I love came from, and this is what actually the people were listening to. It's something unique, and plus I just think it has a much deeper sound, and it's so much more real than what you hear on the radio now. It's not like music from a computer, it's what these people were actually making with their instruments and their voices, and it's just raw. And what you heard in the studio is what you hear on here.
Yeah, it's definitely the most interactive musical medium ever created. And that's what I love about it. It forces you to pay attention to it. I mean, it creates its own conversation. It can be its own art form or artwork. So I think that's what I love about it. It's the most, vinyl forces you to focus on it.
I think that the easier, music is to access, it kind of makes you long for a day when you had to go to the record store and you had to buy a record on Tuesday when they came out to be the first one to hear it. It's not like you could sit at a computer and just click and boom, it's there. And so I think that sometimes people want to go back to something that you had to work for, and you had to turn the album over and put the needle back at the beginning.
It's obvious that vinyl has made its comeback, but the question still remains: is vinyl here to stay, or is it just another trend that will eventually fade away? I guess for now we'll just have to sit back and enjoy the music. Reporting for Good Day DePaul, I'm Savannah Fish.